I want to ask you one question before we wrap up, because you just said something, implicit memory. New therapists would not know what that means.
Okay. Well, Malcolm Gladwell wrote that famous book, and you see, basically he was saying that you have to do something 10,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
To become an expert at something. You have to do it 10,000 times and before it goes from explicit memory, which is the memory that, well, I just remembered I left my watch in the other room, to implicit memory, where the brain, the body knows it better than the brain. It goes into the entire body. Okay, so I used to do this one technique, and I wrote an article about this actually, so I'm repeating my article, but there was this one technique that I do at every end. I do the same closing technique at every end, and it's a stretching technique. I go through and make sure it's a neck stretching, torso stretching, the whole thing goes to the whole body. And just to make sure, see what I have missed, see what things I still need to work on, all that stuff. Well, there's this one move that was real complex. I learned up at Michigan State, and it's a big body twisting maneuver. And every time I got to this one part, I would have to think, okay, my left hand has to go here, yeah, and then my right hand goes here, da 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 da. One day, I'm finishing the session, and I get through that session, and I go, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that thing where my right hand goes. That's the moment it went from explicit to implicit memory.
Yeah.
That's why you can't teach experience. I know a lot of people who already have gifted hands, and they're already great right off the bat. I was not one of those people, but a lot of people need the experience. They need to do it the 10,000 times. Unfortunately, Gladwell was a little bit wrong in his book, because if you add emotion to it, you have to do it fewer times, because the brain starts, the prefrontal cortex will start to memorize that, and the limbic system will start to get involved and memorize all of those patterns. And that's why I really love techniques too. That's why myoskeletal alignment techniques. The whole thing to body work is, you've had enough body work sessions that you know in 1 minute, you know how good this therapist is with their hands, and how much you're going to be able to trust this therapist. How good a body worker are they? And they may be nervous in the beginning, and they may calm into it and be a lot better therapists later on during this session, but sometimes not. And you know that. What makes a great body worker get the best success is having great hands and great, being able to use their body and having that implicit memory. And that comes from technique. A lot of being able to use different grips, different types of techniques about talking with people about certain things, range of motion, tissue texture abnormality, asymmetry, stuff like that. Being able to talk to them about that. That's the kind of thing that comes from experience. And so you can't teach experience in most cases.
No,